What is up, guys? How we doing? How we doing? So I don't usually do movie reviews or show reviews back to back, but I was excited about Twisted Metal coming out today, so I decided to review season 1 yesterday, and today I'm going to review the first 3 episodes that drop. So, episode 1. This is the season of the spectacular competition, and I said yesterday that I was worried about budget restrictions and not being able to, actually do the competition, and that kind of seems like what's going to happen is it's only going to be in like the back half of the season. Anyway, episode 1. We open with high school girls and high school girl just getting done having sex with 2 dudes and then making a joke about anal. Awesome. That's great. And then the other high school girl that doesn't like the high school girl that just slept with 2 dudes, tries to pull a prank on her, and her friend, her friend fucking falls into a pool and goes into a coma, and we get backstory on a character that I do not care about. I guess they didn't have enough money to get Sydney back. And then we get to John and basically how he's on high alert because he keeps trying to escape and whatnot. And they're making him play the Twisted Metal games on an arcade with like a racing simulator every day to prepare for the contest. And it's 6 months later in the timeline. Anyway, he successfully escapes and reunites with Quiet and the Dollface group. We get a scene of the Dollface group taking over a lube lab because they want to, spread the wealth to the outsiders, but it was a lube lab, so not a lot of good to spread there. The scene only exists to show that Quiet is now a Dollface member. So, and Sweet Tooth, we see him and he's trying to track down the big bads so he can be the biggest name and the most feared name on the streets. And so we only got one scene of him so far, and then a cringy Stu comes up with the idea of what if we do get all the best drivers in the country and do a battle royale like competition, and then you win, and then you'll be the head honcho. And then Calypso just coincidentally right after that happens to announce on television that they're doing the competition in a week. And that's episode 1. Fascinating. And then episode 2, we get the basically origin story of the Dollface group, which is just so generic. Basically these men, have these women around that they're bossing around, and the women just turn the tables on them and kill them. And it's like, why didn't you just do that a long time ago? Yeah. They totally changed actresses. The Dollface we got introduced to at the end of season 1 is not the same Dollface that we get here. Which, I don't really care. It was only for a split second. I looked it up, and they used a stunt double, I guess. I just don't understand why you would do a big reveal of a character and then not have the same actress. I know actresses cost money, so it would be cheaper to just, okay, you're behind a mask, it doesn't matter. You be Dollface for this scene. But, it's so apparent that that's not the same person. Anyway, Quiet and John reunite, and Quiet is happy to see him for a second, and then we're back to the normal bickering, which is getting old. It all the setup for their relationship and how much she wanted him to have a good life, so much so that she shot him so he would enter the gates and everything, and then they reunite, and she could care less, it seems like, and she's entering the competition. John doesn't want her to, and then they do a test race to see who's the best driver to enter the competition on behalf of the Dollface group, and their wish is to bring all the walls down. But we know that the wish is going to go sideways, so We don't want the main character to win. Calypso, I think they nailed it with him. Long hair, no eyebrows, weird ass laugh, kind of like the Joker. He was that way in the games, so cool. And yeah, they end up racing, but that's not the, like, whoever crosses the finish line first will be our driver. That's not what Twisted Metal is. It's whoever survives. And I understand they can't do that and kill their own group. But, like, obviously, the roadkill car is going to beat the bug, you know? And so that happens, and then basically the episodes just revolved around them preparing for the contest. And we meet Mayhem, who I'm pretty sure is a character in the games. I'm not sure though. Ooh. God damn, that was thunder. I thought that sounded like gunshots for a second. I'm sorry. And we get introduced to a character named Jeremy, who is like the most incompetent dork. Every time there is a Jeremy on TV, it is a nerdy, like, just Jeremy. It's such a nerdy name. But yeah, there's like one guy in the Dollface group, and it's Jeremy, and he's like just cringy, and yeah. And that's basically episode 2. That's really all that happens. And then we meet Grimm, who I'm most excited for, Mr. Grimm, at the end. And then we get into episode 3, which was my favorite episode so far. So Mr. Grimm's power, if I remember correctly, his special was he throws out like a bomb that sucks everybody in, and then it explodes, if I remember correctly. And yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing how he's done. He seems like a badass. And so at the end of 2, we're introduced to Mr. Grimm. At the beginning of 3, these guys are digging up a corpse for inappropriate reasons, and Mr. Grimm comes in and kills them, and they just happen to be digging up the grave that his bike was in, his motorcycle was in. So, shitty grave robbers. And, yeah, then we follow, they're on their way to Diesel City to get better specials, better weapons, and basically, Quiet is teaching Mayhem how to drive, and John and his sister reunite. Oh yeah, John and his sister reunite. I forgot to mention it because it's so lackluster that it doesn't really matter. And they discover Axel. We see Axel, which is awesome. I'm excited. So we got introduced to Grimm and Axel. And yeah, it looks like they do his character justice. I'm still confused on how he's gonna work. I mean, he gets shot once, he's done, right? But he seems pretty badass. There's a part where John shoots at him and he turns his wheel and it ricochets off and hits the Dollface in the face. And I just don't feel like Axel would have been able to turn the tire faster than a bullet traveled, but okay. And, yeah, well, then they go in and they meet the guy that made Axel, who said, you know, like, if we're going to live in a world where you need a car to survive, then I'm trying to make people into cars. And then they kill him, and then the only joke that landed with me in the first 3 episodes is that they accused him of being racist because he's only doing it to black people. And his dying words are, some of my best friends were black. And that made me laugh. Because, like, of course. And, yeah, so they free Axel because they killed him, which doesn't make any sense because Axel could have overtaken him at any point. So, don't get that. And then after they free Axel, while Quiet is teaching Mayhem how to drive, Grimm shows up and kills Jeremy and his girlfriend because they were banging in a car. And yeah, then we get a scene where Axel shows up and Axel and Grimm go at each other, and then of course we cut away from that because we can't show that. Budget reasons. Why would we show the two main characters that we've been hyped up to see fight? And then they show up to Diesel City. So episode 4 is going to be about them stealing weapons. They're probably not even going to get into the competition until episode 6. And I guarantee you it's going to be like a scene of car battle. And then, I mean, I get it. There's only so much you can do, right? This is going to cost money and shows have lower budgets. But that's your fault, studio. I mean, you're bringing a show about car combat to life. If you're going to do that, do it right. It's going to cost money. Like, I don't know. I was excited to see John and Quiet reunite, and then that was kind of worthless, and Quiet just didn't seem to care, which kind of, I don't know. She's becoming more of a badass, which I like, but them just bickering all the time is like, dude. I don't know. These first 3 episodes I'm not very impressed with. Of course, the commercial doesn't show a single scene from the first 3 episodes except Stu's. Well, what if we do the competition, blah, blah, and only show scenes of the competition? Because this is what I feared, man, that the budget was going to get in the way of us actually getting the competition. When we get there, it looks like it'll be cool, but, yeah, I'm not impressed so far. I don't know what else to say about it. That's it, man. Each episode was very lackluster. 3 I thought was good because we're meeting Mr. Grimm, we're meeting Axel, and 2 was okay to get the backstory of Dollface and whatnot. But like episode 1, man, was just like, I don't know. I was really excited, turned it on first thing this morning, and it was just like, okay, we got Sweet Tooth one time, John and, reuniting with Quiet was lackluster, reuniting with the sister was lackluster, the Dollface group, it doesn't make sense that we didn't see him at any point in the first season. Anyway, yeah, I don't know, man. I know that I'm being nitpicky and whatnot, and obviously there has to be some setup to the competition. Like, I wasn't expecting them to open up with the competition. But it's very clear that we're not going to get that. Like, most of the budget probably went to that, and it's going to be like the last few episodes, which is a bummer. And that would be fine if they give us good stuff in the meantime. But episodes 1 and 2 were like nothing burgers. And while episode 3 was better and we're getting introduced to these characters and whatnot, it still just wasn't that great. Yeah. But yeah, I'll be reviewing this each week. And so if you're interested in watching my review on this show that I'm not liking so far, which, don't get me wrong, I mean, season 1 started off the same, but I just expected to start, like, the writing just isn't that great so far. I hope it gets better. We'll see. See you next Thursday. Love you guys.